So in an aircraft disaster, who do people blame? The airline. Specifically, it's usually the pilots. Maintenance programs come under scrutiny very quickly. 80% of accidents are typically caused in part or solely by pilot error. When was the last time you heard somebody after a hurricane curse Mother Nature? Nobody. We're safe, we're alive, we're going to rebuild. You know, we're thankful that we have each other, right? So focused blame is one or anger is another. What's another difference between an aircraft disaster and, say, a hurricane? Yes, ma'am?
One can be controlled more than the other.
Okay, one can be controlled more than the other. We don't have any control over the weather, but we do have control over our systems and processes in terms of safety, if you will, within an airline. Flying into a storm or flying around a storm, things like that. Other differences? Predictability, you bet. When was the last time there was an accident? A major accident? Well, we can certainly look at MH370 as one that the aircraft hasn't been found. We don't know if it was an accident or an act of terrorism. The accident before that was Asiana, but typically there aren't that many, but we have hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes all the time. If you think of an aircraft disaster, that type of thing, or like a BP oil spill, you have the top left picture is the BP oil spill. 11 people were killed. It occurred with little or no warning, concentrated debris field, similar to an aircraft accident. This is Malaysia Flight 17 that was shot down recently. While it was a large debris field, the concentrated piece of where most everything fell was in a small debris area, which is different than a Hurricane Sandy. So why is it important as business continuity planners or emergency responders to think about the difference of the disaster in your plan? The difference between a natural disaster and a man-made disaster is the human level of emotion that's associated with it. Sure, there's going to be grief if someone dies in a hurricane. It's not the same level of, and I don't want to say it that way. The emotion is still the same, but there's more emotion associated with the BP spill in the aircraft accident because our mind goes to twisted carnage, metal thrown around, people hurtling into the ground at 400 miles an hour. It's not something that we expect. And so what we don't take into account in many of our plans is the emotional aspect.